Christ will seat us around his royal table. Christ.
These are the days of Elijah, declaring the word of the Lord. And these are the days of
Blessed are those
Moses'
servants whose
righteousness
orphans shall find
restored.
watching. Alright, now today for the morning services I will be concluding the idea of watching, alright? And then for the rest of the year there's a lot of work to do, and so we want to focus on the other Sunday mornings and for the rest of the year working until Jesus comes. There are different kinds of work that we need to do and so forth. So today we want to conclude this idea of watching. But in the night services we'll be doing some watching. Tonight, for instance, we'll be watching some signs. So come back tonight for 7 o'clock and we'll be watching some signs to show you that the rapture of Jesus Christ, meaning Jesus coming for his church, is near. We're going to watch, world watch tonight. So come out and be a part of that. Alright? So, just I gave you a formula to describe the idea of watching. I call it a triple A formula. Remember those words? You can talk to me even though it's a morning service. Remember those words? In order to figure out what watching is. What does watching carry? These three ideas of triple A. You are to be awake. What else? Alert. Anticipate. Right? That's a triple A formula. What we're talking about when we say watching until Jesus comes. I keep saying this so that we get it. The idea of watching till Jesus comes is not to put our hands on our jaw and say, when he might come. It carries the idea of being awake, alert, and anticipate. And interestingly, we want to look at the idea of the reward for just doing that. Alert, awake, anticipate is coming. Because God is going to reward us just for that, you know. There are two passages that speak to that. And for me, I guess, and maybe for some of you as well, I guess it kind of looks like this is something that you didn't need a reward for. You know, aren't there other greater things we can do and get a reward for? But interestingly, God wants us to know that it is so important that we never forget that He's returning for us. That He's going to reward us for keeping aware of that. Because when Jesus Christ returns, I want you to understand what that means. He's returning as the conquering king. He's returning to make sure that people understand that He's Lord of Lords and King of Kings. And He wants His servants, He wants His people to never forget that. So, when we are watching, we are waiting, right? W-A-I-T-I-N-G. So, I have entitled this little sermon, The Weight Watcher's Reward. W-A-I-T, not W-E-I-G-H-T. You're not watching your weight, fat or slim. But we are watching and waiting, and so I've called it the Weight Watcher's Reward. We want to look at what the Weight Watcher gets. Because if you are anticipating His return, you are a watcher. And you're waiting for His return. So there are two things. The first one, the Weight Watcher will receive a royal treatment. Turn your Bibles to that passage that we call the theme passage for this year, St. Luke chapter 12. St. Luke chapter 12. The Weight Watcher will receive a royal treatment. St. Luke chapter 12. If there is more volume, this mic sounds slightly weak. Sounds slightly weak. Alright? Sounding better? Alright. Now, we are familiar with this passage. We have looked through it at the beginning in January already, and we pointed out a few things. But we want to get back to the idea of the reward found in this verse. So we will start at verse 35, and verse 37 and 38 is where the crux of the matter is. Let your loins be girded about, and your lights burning. And you yourselves like unto men that wait for their Lord, when He will return from the wedding, that when He cometh and knocketh, they may open unto Him immediately. Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when He cometh, shall find watching. Truly, verily, I say unto you, that He shall gird Himself, and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. And if He shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, meaning watching, blessed are those servants. So, the first thing a weight watcher will get is royal treatment. We will receive a royal treatment. What kind of royal treatment? He says, the idea comes in verse 37 to say that Christ Himself will gird Himself and serve us. Now, because we went through a lot of that in January about the idea of them wearing these long robes, and if they are going to do any kind of movement, hectic activity, running, walking, even serving, they would wear these long robes and they would have to gird them up together. It is the same idea that is carried here, but it is usually affiliated to a servant who needs to be efficient and effective and fluent in his movement. So he would gird up take and say, catch up the robe so that he can perform, he or she can perform their task more efficiently. But guess who is the one that will be doing that this time around? It's going to be Christ. Even reading it, if I never saw it for myself, I would have not accepted it. But it is something to see and to understand and to accept. That it says, blessed are those servants whom the Lord when he cometh shall find watching. It's not about the work part. He says, when he comes he shall find them watching. Blessed, oh very happy are the servants. When he comes, find them watching, because I say unto you that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. And if you were associating that idea of him girding and serving us to anything else, verse 38 brings you right back to the idea of, because you are watching, God will serve you. And if he shall come in the second watch or come in the third watch and find them so watching, blessed are those servants. So we talked about it in January, but we didn't go in detail. Let's flesh that out. Let's flesh out verse 37. Let's pull it apart. Christ will gird himself and serve us. What does that mean? And I take it literally because there's also a Lord's Supper, Supper of the Lamb, marriage supper of the Lamb. I take it literally. I have no reasons to attach any symbolic, figurative meaning towards this. It says that he will gird himself and serve us. It means that Jesus Christ will be the host. And guess what? I love this part. I just find pleasure in saying the rest of the sentence. And we will be the honored guests. Jesus Christ will be the host, and we will be the honored guests. The servants, those who are saved, by the way. This is not just for anybody. This is for the people. And I said, if you want to theologically think about this somewhere, I leave it in your thoughts. But there are two views here. Is it every believer that will get this honored treatment, or is it just those who have been watching? I'm leaving that for you to think about. I will say no more about it. But interestingly, he says, blessed are those who, when he comes, find watching, because he is going to gird himself and serve them. He's going to be the host, and we're going to be the honored guests. There is a reward for just watching, for anticipating, for being alert and being awake. However Christ is going to do it, I am not sure. If you believe that this special banquet is going to be for the weight watchers, and then the marriage supper of the Lamb is going to be for all believers, but then in this corner, in this platform, will be the weight watchers corner, where the angels might serve the regular believers. I'm just putting it together. It could be because it is linked to watching. And then Jesus Christ, so the angels might be the regular waiters for the regular believers. And then the weight watchers over there, he takes their food to them. If you believe that he's going to serve all of us, believe what you may. But please understand what the scripture says. It says, for those who are watching, he's going to give them a royal treatment. Christ will set up a banquet feast. Christ will seat us around his royal table. Christ will serve us as if we are royalty. I want to understand the ramifications of this. Jesus Christ has flipped the script. Why did I say that? We are supposed to be serving him. We are supposed to be honoring him. And he is going to demonstrate servitude, servanthood. That is what the Bible says, you know. It is a good thing that, honestly, it's a good thing that this will happen, I would say, in heaven. Because my human humility would never allow me to do that. In other words, it's not because I wouldn't appreciate it, but I wouldn't find myself myself and think myself worthy, Brother Omar and Sister Proud, and say, no, Christ, no. In fact, go sit down and let me serve you. I think that is what I would have done. Amen? But you see, our minds will be different. Our attitude will be different. And we would understand and accept what Jesus Christ is doing. You know, and why would he do that for us? To show you how important it is for you to not forget that he's coming one day. And because that is going to be preeminent in your mind and prominent in your mind, he wants you to know that just for remembering that I will return one day as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, when you come up, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords will serve you. Wow! Whether we deserving or undeserving, just for watching, he's going to serve us. That is royal treatment. Because it should be the other way around. If he set it up that we would go and serve him, I believe many of us, if not all of us, would have no problem with that, because that would seem to be the order of business. The order in which, because he deserves all of that. But understand how this indicates to us the importance. You see, that's why I tell you, watching is very important to Jesus Christ. And I don't know how important that has been to believers. If you watch, you anticipate, you are aware and you're alert to my coming, I'm going to serve you. Verse 38 indicates the idea that servant who is ready to receive Christ, who is always aware that Jesus could return anytime. That servant is particularly and peculiarly blessed and highly favored. Read verse 38. And if you shall come in the second watch or come in the third watch and find them so watching, blessed are those servants. They are going to be peculiar and particularly highly favored and blessed. What a royal treatment Jesus is going to give those who just simply watch. Are you a Weight Watcher? Then wait for your royal treatment one day. I would say this then. If it is that I'm going to be served in heaven, then yes, I'd rather Jesus do it. The highest royalty of all. Even when we don't deserve it, God is going to serve us. So we will receive a royal treatment. Secondly and finally, the Weight Watcher will receive a royal token. So as a Weight Watcher, we will receive a royal treatment and we will receive a royal token. That royal token is called a crown, by the way. I just did that to alliterate. But we will receive a crown of righteousness. And that is taken from the passage we looked at earlier. So turn your Bibles to 2 Timothy chapter 4. You read the context, so we're going to jump right to verse 7 and 8. 2 Timothy chapter 4. As you turn there, Paul was nearing the end of his life and journey and ministry. And he knew that his time was coming to an end. So he made a commentary of his life, summarizing it, and he knew that he had done the best he could. And the very familiar portion in verse 7 and 8 says, of 2 Timothy chapter 4, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. I've always said that for somebody to say that, they must have felt a sense of accomplishment. They must have known that they've accomplished a lot. Because most of the time we feel that we've just never accomplished much or enough. He says, I have fought a good fight, I've finished my course, I've kept the faith. Another reason why Paul might have said it that way as well too, is that he knew that he was going to die. He knew that his time would come soon. And he says in verse 8, henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day of both judgment and reward. That great day, as the choir song, there's coming a great day. And notice who is the giver again? The Lord Jesus Christ. Wow! He serves us in Luke, and then He's giving us a throne. What a God! What a mighty God! What a merciful God! What a gracious God He is! He deserves all the accolades. We should be giving Him crowns. We should be crowning Him King. And interestingly, He's giving us this banquet and then giving us a throne, but not just any and anybody. Not to me only, Paul says. Because Paul says He's going to give us a crown of righteousness, and not to Him only, Paul said, but unto all them also that love His appearance. The crown of righteousness. It is the crown of the faithful. It is the crown for the faithful servants of the Lord. And those who are faithful and watching for Christ's return as well. That is the crown they are going to get. They will receive one. And let me say we, because I believe I've been watching. I want that crown. He says, all them, this crown is going to be given to all them also that love His appearing. Now I want to break down two words in that statement. The word love and the word appearing. The word love there, he says, all them that love His appearing. The word love there comes from the very familiar word you know in the Greek. You know, if many churchgoers and Christians know a few Greek words, and one of them is agape. The Greek word used there is agapao, which comes from the Greek word agape, which is the unconditional love. Alright? So he's saying that those who sacrificially love His appearing, those who look towards it, you don't just like it, you love it. And you anticipate it. You are not letting go of that desire. That's the idea behind it. You love it. But the word appearing, it comes from a Greek word pronounced like this. Epiphania. That sounds familiar to our English word, you know? Epiphany. Appearing, epiphania, means manifestation. Revelation, the advent, or His coming. It says that God is going to give us a reward for those who desire, love, wait, and it's like your emotions, your being is wrapped up in His manifestation, His revelation. You are there waiting for Him to return. God is going to give you a token called a crown of righteousness just for loving His appearing. Are you a wait watcher? Because if you're not watching and waiting, you will not get that royal treatment and that royal token. And if you want to debate the first one, fine. But the second one, can't miss the interpretation of that one. It says, for those that love His appearing. Royal token. The language here, all them that also love His appearing, the language implies that those that have loved and still love. Wow. The language implies those that have loved and still love His appearing. Now, I want, in case I was leaving you behind with those terms, I want you to get this. There are some people that have loved His appearing and fell off the love wagon a few years ago. In other words, I said it a few Sundays ago. There are some people who just got tired of waiting. Oh, Jesus, no come yet. You have loved it and then you just get tired and impatient and stop loving it. It implies you need to still keep loving it. The idea is that if you want this crown, you have to have loved it and you have to still love it. The language implies those who have a habitual love and desire for Christ's coming. It is your long-awaited desire that you never forget. It's in your system. Every day you wake up, you wonder, is it the day? I know lately, because we're focusing on this, boy, I've been having some It's not dream because I was well awake. I've been having some thoughts. And I was saying to myself, I wonder what it is going to be like when Jesus comes. What we're going to feel like in that instant when he raptures, catches us away. I'm trying to figure out what it feels. I said, I don't know what I will feel until it happens to me. And then I take my mind and imagination to the places where I'm in heaven and just him just doing his thing. And where they're rejoicing and honoring him and he's honoring us too. Imagination can still not conceive that to the fullest. But one thing I know, I desire to see him again. And I desire that. So we have to understand that there is a royal token for those who love that. All who live in expectation of the return of the Lord shall be rewarded for that. All who anticipate Jesus is coming with joyfulness shall be rewarded. All who bury the world, I like this statement, I got it from a commentator. He says, this idea contains the idea of burying the world. All who bury the world and laid up all their hopes above. No the world, no to self, the worldly system. We put on Babylon system. We put on the materialism. We let it go. And we say, these things are not what we put our hope in. Anything we lose here, so is alright. Because you have a hope above. So you bury the world, but treasures are laid up in hope above. All who never forget. All who are always aware and entertain the thought of their Savior's return will receive a royal token. So the question is, are you a Weight Watcher? Or you fell into the category of one of those Christians who just never thought it was that important? In fact, you may have been focused on the working side of the theme and say, Pastor, hurry up and get to the working part. Because there are people here who are just workers, and there's nothing wrong working. We're going to see that. But some people, I believe, as Christians, have been focused on work for Jesus. And we work on the soul case. And we work on healing water. And we work. And we never really understand that there was major importance attached to just watching. So don't just be a worker, be a watcher. And I guarantee you he'll reward you for both working and watching. For those who are watching, you receive a royal treatment, and those who are watching receive a royal token. I want to conclude with this very familiar verse, words of Jesus, taken from Revelation chapter 22 and verse 12, where he says to John, and by extension everybody, and behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. He's coming again. And this was written a long time ago, over 2,000 years ago, and he's telling them then that he's coming quickly. And people dead are gone and they still not come. But he wants us to always be in the mode of his advent. That he could come. And by the way, at any time now, when we look at the signs later, you will see that this quickly is more relevant to our time than John's time. But he's coming with his rewards. Will he find you watching so that he can reward you as a watcher? Let us pray. Lord, thank you for your word. Pray, dear God, that we will see much importance and significance in this idea of watching. Because I believe that naturally as human beings, we are workers. We work for everything and we work to be rewarded. We work to be paid. But sometimes we didn't even understand the magnitude of watching too, just anticipating. Thank you for your scriptures, which then puts it into perspective. That we will understand that there is indeed a reward just for being aware and alert and anticipating your return. Maybe if we were not watchers before, become Weight Watchers. so that we will get that crown. We will get the royal treatment and the royal token from the royal Christ, the royal Savior. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.